Well, if baseball games only lasted a half an inning and it was the top of the first, then the Seattle Mariners won. But unfortunately, 8.5 innings more of baseball needed to be played, and the Mariners could not pull it out. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Mariners lose this one 9-2 to the Baltimore Orioles. They fall to 24-21 in the season. Looks like they will remain in first place. So that's some good news that comes out of today. I guess each day you can survive and stay in first place is a good thing. Before I dive into the recap, do me a favor, smash that like button, hit the like button, tap the like button, whatever you need to do. And if you're new here or you're just lurking, go ahead and hit subscribe. Liking and subscribing are just two free and easy ways that really do help support my channel. So a huge thank you to all of you. Listen, I'm going to keep this one pretty short. I had a long day. Nothing bad, just exhausted, ready for bed type day. You know how those days go. And this game was it was over in the bottom of the first inning, right? I mean, Bryce Miller gives up 4 runs before recording it out. Mariners offense has chances to bounce back, but can't do it. The bullpen lets it get away late. And the Mariners, are down 1-0 in a series that I talked about yesterday. We knew was going to be very tough. Baltimore is arguably the best team in the American League. I mean, you could probably argue best team in baseball. And they took the Mariners to the woodshed tomorrow. The hope is that the Mariners can bounce back and, win tomorrow and then win on Sunday. Dive into the box score real quick. Bryce Miller, 5 1/3, 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 5 runs, 4 earned, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. Obviously not Bryce Miller's best game. I will give him credit. He did bounce back after that first inning and gave his offense a chance to get back into this game. I always applaud pitchers when they clearly don't have their best stuff, but they're still able to battle through it. Listen, the Mariners are playing 17 games in 17 days, which is just insane that they don't get one day off after this East Coast road trip. I can promise you the Yankees get days off after their long. It feels, I don't know, maybe they don't. Maybe I'm just salty, but it feels like the Mariners always have to go through stuff like that. But you couldn't just take him out after an inning. You needed Bryce Miller to give you something in the first game of this 17-game stretch. And he did. He was able to go 5 1/3, and it allowed the offense a chance to try and claw back into this game. They didn't do it, but he gave them a chance. For the bullpen, it was rough. Cody Bolton gives up a run in 2/3 of an inning. Kirby Snead gets blasted, doesn't record an out. Bizzardo does pitch 2 shutout innings, which is good to see. You guys know I like Edward Bizzardo. So good to see him with a couple shutout innings. I'm not even going to get on the bullpen too much and talk about need to add an arm. These are your guys that are just, Bolton, Snead, Bizzardo right now are pitching in these type of games. Kirby Snead is clearly filling the spot by Taylor Saucedo. He's actually looked pretty good so far this year and had a rough outing today. Relievers always work on such small sample sizes that, I could blast Kirby Snead for it, but he's pitched pretty well, had a bad outing, and that one bad outing, unfortunately, is going to inflate your ERA. From almost all bullpen arms until we get into July, August, September, Munoz goes out and gives up 6 earned runs tomorrow. His ERA is probably in the 5s. I don't think that'll happen, but it's just tough to judge these guys based on that. But certainly they didn't keep the team in the game. The Orioles pulled away. And honestly, at that point, I don't think the Mariners were coming back. Anyways, let's look at the lineup here. Dylan Moore, 2 for 4, led off the game with a double and had a solo home run. Unfortunately, J.P. Crawford's hand does need some treatment. It doesn't sound like anything too serious, but, he probably won't join the team until, I would guess, maybe Monday for the Yankees series. I don't think we'll see him in Baltimore. Now, against a lefty, not super worried because you still have Dylan Moore, playing shortstop, but it does affect other aspects of the lineup. Josh Rojas plays against the lefty, which is fine. He should be getting playing time against the lefty, but it's certainly going to be he's going to be worse against lefties than righties, so he's got to play with JP being out. Luke Raley has to be in the outfield because you don't have Dylan Moore able to play out there, so it does affect, the rest of your roster for sure. Julio 1 for 4, Mitch Garver 1 for 4 at the RBI. Hey, the Mariners only struck out 4 times. Something to hold your hat, hang the hat on. Cal Raleigh goes 2 for 4, one of those being a double. Zavala came in for him. Mitch Haniger 1 for 3 with a walk on base a couple times as well. Rojas and Ty France 0 for 4. Ty France ended up playing second base. The team is fighting injuries right now. I mean, I'll get into that in a little bit here, but Ty France should not be playing second base. I know the game was like 5-2, 6-2 at that point, but it can't happen. Luke Raley 1 for 4. Urias 0 for 2. And Canzone, who came in and pinched hit, was 1-for-2. Listen, in terms of results, you still got a chance to win the series. You weren't going to go into Baltimore and sweep that team. Just not going to happen. Baltimore's too good of a team. My concern is, though, that the Mariners went into Baltimore and, they looked a tier below. They looked like the worse team than the Orioles. Now, easy to say, they lost 9-2. Of course, they looked like the worst team. If the Rockies beat you 14-0, that doesn't mean you're automatically worse than them. But, Baltimore's not the Rockies, so I don't know why I made that comparison. But you know what I mean? Like, nothing should be judged off of one game. But the Mariners need to, got a chance to kind of show something in this series. And so far, a dud to start it. They looked, like I said, they looked like a legitimate tier below the Baltimore Orioles. And if you want to compete and win a World Series, now the AL West, like I said, is kind of having itself a mid-off this year. So you may not have to win 95 games to win the AL West, but you're going to have to beat these type of teams if you want to win the World Series. You're going to have to beat the Baltimore Orioles of the world. Mariners can still do that. They've got a game tomorrow and Sunday. They may come out and prove that they can hang with them and beat them. Sometimes losses like this happen. They do. There's, 10 to 15 games a year that are over in the first inning. Sometimes you're on the losing end of them. Sometimes you're on the winning end of them. We've seen the Mariners win these type of games. We've seen them lose it. We had a game against the Twins, very similar. But I would like to see this team bounce back and show that they can compete with the likes of the Baltimore Orioles. Because if you want to go like I said, to the World Series, which, I think should be what we want this team to strive for and be at, you're going to have to be competitive against Baltimore. And that was not competitive. That was Baltimore giving you a butt whooping despite jumping out early. Listen, Bryce Miller's been great this year. It happens. I do applaud him for being able to go 5 1/3. Like I said, I think that takes a lot of moxie and guts when you don't have your best stuff. It doesn't mean he was good. I'm not saying Bryce Miller was fantastic. He wasn't. He was not good. But he managed to give the team 5 1/3. You didn't have to use any of your top bullpen arms today. So all systems go tomorrow. And also the team needs to get some guys back. Like I said, having against the lefty Dylan Moore start at shortstop, probably not the end of the world with JP being out, but it unfortunately forces you into situations where, you're playing Rayleigh and Canzone against lefties. You're, Josh Rojas playing against lefties. Again, I don't mind that occasionally. I have no problem. I've talked about Rojas should have at-bats against lefties, but it just shortens your lineup without JP. And then Jorge Polanco with the hamstring injury. It sounds like he may not play in this series. And if he's not going to be back by the Yankees series, got to put him on the injured list. Because you cannot have Ty France having to play second base, even if it's for an inning or two. Like, listen, if you get in like a 20-inning game, or not even that, like, I should say back in the day when you were in the National League, and the National League had pitchers hit, and if you were on the road there and you had like a 15-inning game, yeah, I get things happen and guys got to play in weird spots. That stuff does happen. But in no means should Ty France be playing second base at any cost. If Polanco is not going to be back by the Yankees series, you need to put him on the injured list. Because you can retroactive it to when was Tuesday. So, he's already going to miss 6 days of a 10-day IL stint. So if you're not getting him back by the Yankee series, you need to get that roster spot taken care of. I get not putting him on the IL if you can get him back right away. I get it. I do. And not having him against the lefty is huge because his right side is his better side. So you're missing him in these games. So, listen, you can get by with some of these injuries. The Mariners have done it. They've survived the J.P. Crawford injury. Even to an extent, they've survived the Garver back spasms and Polanco's injury. And you can get away with that against Oakland. I'll even kind of throw Kansas City in that mix. They're a much better team. They're much improved, but they're not Baltimore. You're not going to get away with it against Baltimore. And if your pitching is not on its game, that lineup is just too good. There are too many hitters 1-9. You have to be dialed in from the start, and Bryce Miller was not dialed in from the start. Good learning lesson. He'll get better from it, but this is not, and the Mariners pitching is great, but you're not going to skate by against this lineup. Even at the bottom, a guy like Jorge Mateo with his speed, he hurt the Mariners. I think he had 2 hits. He had a hit I think it was a triple. Yeah. Right away, Gunnar Henderson wasn't it a leadoff home run, I believe? Let me see. Yeah, Gunnar Henderson leads off the game with the home run. There's your 1-run lead gone right away. So, Castillo has got to be on his game tomorrow. And the Mariners have got to find a way to get some runs off of, a Cole Irvin. I think it's Cole Irvin tomorrow. Let me just double check here. Believe it is. Supposed to be some rain in Baltimore. It still says TBD. I think it's Cole Irvin. I'll get on the offense too. Like, Bryce Miller was not good, but he pitched deep enough into this game where he kept it 5-1, and then Dylan Moore hits the home run. Like, from inning, they hit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They had 4 innings to get some runs. I get John Means is good. I'm not trying to say, you should just blast him for 5 runs. But Bryce did give the offense a chance to crawl back into this game, and they couldn't do it. And some of that goes back to the injuries a little bit. You need Jorge Polanco. You need JP back. Just, if anything, to get Dylan Moore playing the outfield against left-handed pitching. But yeah, got to get healthy. I need a better performance tomorrow, because one of the bugaboos with this team, and they've played better against good teams this year, but, if you want to play with the big boys or be one of the big boys, you got to play with the big boys, and you got to compete with them. Talked a little bit about that with the Seahawks last year with some of the games, like Baltimore. Say Baltimore again, right? There we go. That game where the Seahawks got blasted by the Ravens was really a sign to me, because it was like, and I know football and baseball are totally different. Baseball's more random than football is. But the fact that Seattle got blown out in that game by Baltimore is like, they're not even competitive. If they would have lost that game 21-20, tip my cap. The Ravens were a fantastic team. You went in there and battled them, but they boat raced you. And that's what the Orioles did to the Mariners tonight. They went in there, you had a day off, chance to make a statement against a really good team, and they took it to you. They took it to you. Got a game tomorrow, bounce back, win it. Still got a chance to win this series. This is a tough road trip. This is going to be a tough 17-game stretch. 17 games, 17 days. It's going to be interesting to see how they play it. You're going to need to get some guys days off. You're going to have to manage that bullpen. Might see some roster moves as this goes along. It's a tough stretch for the Mariners. Now, at the end of the 17 games, you play the Angels. But even there, it's like, after this road trip, you come home for Houston. Houston's on a roll. They're getting hot. And unfortunately, nobody in this division, if the goal is to keep the Astros out, neither Texas or Seattle, has taken off. The Mariners have played pretty good ball. They've had a tough schedule. I'm not at all upset with where the team's at right now. And it's May something, 17th, 18th, but, Houston's getting hot. And, nobody got off to that 30-16 start to kind of bury them. They're clawing themselves right back in. Let's actually see if Houston won today. They are... Yep, they won. So, they're right back in this. I think they're above Oakland now in the division. So, and luckily, I think the Angels beat Texas. Let me see. They're up 9-3, bottom 9, so they'll more than likely win that game. And I get, shouldn't really be scoreboard watching right now, but hey, I've seen so much bad baseball. If the Mariners want to win the division at 82-80, I'll take it. I'm not going to turn that down. But got to play better. Baltimore's a good team. Baltimore's a great team. Want to see the Mariners much more competitive with them tomorrow. I found this in my closet, and I don't know if you guys can see it. It's an autograph ball. I got this in 2005, and it's dirty, and I haven't taken good care of it, which is a shame. That's on me. 2005, I lived in the Bay Area, so I'd go to the Coliseum with some buddies. I'd go to every Mariners A's game. And this was 2005. This is signed by, if you guys remember, Wilson Valdez was the starting shortstop because the Mariners had signed Pokey Reese and he got hurt. So they went with Wilson Valdez. That's predominant closer J.J. Putz signing on the bottom there. And I think it's either Jeff Nelson, who came back to the Mariners in 2005, or Greg Dobbs. I think it's Jeff, because that's a J. I think that's Jeff, or is it Dobbs? Because that D-O, I don't know. It's either Jeff Nelson or Greg. I got both of them. I don't know if I got Dobbs on another ball or anything like that. I know I got both of them. I would always go for guys to get autographs that weren't as known, because obviously the key, I don't do it anymore. I'm getting older. I don't, my kids will ask for autographs, but I'm kind of like, I'm the old guy now. I can't do it. Key is to use the first name. Never use the name on the back of the jersey, because players are going to think you don't know who I am. You're just reading the back of the jersey. So always use the first name when asking for the autographs, because it shows the player you know them. So I would always go for guys that just people didn't ask. Everyone was trying to get Ichiro. Everyone was trying to get, Felix wasn't up yet, but Jamie Moyer was really popular. Raul was really popular. Boone was still on the team. Boone was popular. So I'd always, I'd see Wilson Valls go, Wilson. He's like, oh, someone knows my name. And then, same with like guys like Dobbs and stuff. And, Nelly was always popular, but, and this was before JJ became like a lights out closer. This one, he was just kind of a middle reliever. Something light to end on. Figured I'd share that with you guys. My bad for not taking care of that ball, but I was like 18. So, whatever. I don't think that those autographs are worth a ton anymore. But Jeff Nelson, JJ had some good years. That's all I got. Bounce back tomorrow. I'm sorry, guys, I'm exhausted. This game was, I kind of had to listen to it on the radio. I watched the highlights, but, at no point it wasn't a heartbreaking loss. Now, in some regards, I'd rather lose a heartbreaking loss because it shows you're more competitive. This is just getting blasted, but I'm also just, the game is over in the first inning. So bounce back, get a win tomorrow, show you can compete with these guys. Have a great night, everybody. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys all. Tomorrow's postgame will be much later. We're having a little afternoon barbecue get together. So not sure when the postgame will be up tomorrow, but I will have it up, and hopefully it's a Mariners W. Have a great night, everybody, and go M's. Peace.